Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video via social media and with your friends via email. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Today, I read an article on Yahoo Finance put out by Bloomberg and written by Marian Lopez Medina and Lex Tanny, titled Gen Z's Cash Cushion Shrinks After U.S. Summer of Splurge. According to the authors, the share of American young adults who said they could cover a $400 emergency expense with cash or equivalent dropped for the third quarter in a row. These authors talk about Generation Z and indicate the share of this age cohort who say they'd have the cash to cover an unexpected expense dropped to 28%, down 11 percentage points from the first quarter of this year, according to a poll conducted by decision intelligence company Morning Consult for Bloomberg News. To look at this another way, 72% of the Generation Z adults surveyed could not cover a $400 emergency expense with cash or equivalent. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to stop right here. Do you see a big problem with all of this? How crazy is it that the average new vehicle price here in America is approximately $48,000 and the median rent in the US now sits at approximately $2,000 per month? Life is incredibly expensive. Many of these young Generation Z adults may have their 4K TVs and their titanium iPhone 15 Pro Maxes and their apartments with concierge trash, but they can't cover a $400 emergency expense with cash or equivalent. So what do these young adults do when they encounter something unexpected in their life? I'll tell you what I think a lot of them may do. They'll put this on their credit card. That's just the American way for a lot of people. We aren't the land of the free, home of the brave anymore. We are the land of the credit card and the home of the heavily indebted. It turns out I'm right. The authors of this article indicate that 29% of those surveyed would put an unexpected expense on their credit card and then pay it off fully in the next statement, while 27% would pay it off over time. Pay it off over time? Given the high levels of interest being charged by credit card companies right now? Good luck. Especially if you couldn't cover a $400 unexpected expense, but somehow you're going to be able to pay off your debt moving forward. To me, it sounds like you are winging it. The authors of this article go on to say that some of these Generation Z adults would borrow money from relatives or sell some of their belongings. This I can believe completely. There are a lot of young people who are still on their parents' payroll. Don't take my word for it though. I read an article on bankrate.com written by Lane Gillespie titled Survey: 68% have made a financial sacrifice to help their adult children with money. According to the author, over 2/3, 68% of parents of adult children have made or are currently making a financial sacrifice to help their kids financially, according to a new Bankrate survey. Parents say they sacrificed retirement savings 43%, emergency savings 51%, paying down their own debt 49%, or reaching a financial milestone 55%. Generation Z adults range in age from 18 to 26. Now, I understand why some Generation Z adults that are 18 to 22 years of age might still be on their parents' payroll because they may be in college. But those who are 22 to 26 are a completely different story from my perspective. If they graduate from college after 4 years and start working full-time, they should be trying to get by financially on their own. Unfortunately, life is expensive here in America, and many may not be earning enough to sustain themselves without parent financial support. Parents love their children and want to see them happy. According to the article that I referenced today, many of these parents are sacrificing their own financial security to help their children. Some parents would die for their children, So I am not surprised that many parents are sacrificing their financial security in the future to help their children now. I just hope these children will take care of their parents someday when they don't have enough money to live on their own. Some of these parents may have to actually move in with their children to survive if Social Security does not provide enough money. Many Americans don't have any retirement savings, and Social Security is not going to cut it for a lot of people depending on where they live in this country. I don't think that some Generation Z adults are ready for that reality. I don't think many of them are going to like the idea of their parents someday moving in with them. Fortunately for them, it may still be decades away. I do believe it could come to fruition for some of these people, though. We may have quite the retirement crisis on our hands in the future. While many Generation Z adults can't cover a $400 unexpected expense with cash or equivalent, other adults earning $80,000 per year aren't doing much better, at least according to an article that I read today on Yahoo Finance, put out by Bankrate and written by Kelly Ann Smith, titled, "How Making $80,000 a Year in America Can Still Lead to Financial Distress." The author of this article discusses how a couple was earning $74,580 per year a few years ago and couldn't even afford the $200 fee to pay for a furnace service call. The author cites the wife as saying it's embarrassing to make this much money and still be financially broke. This is according to Christina, a 42-year-old accounting manager in St. Louis, Missouri. She said, after a while, you get used to it and just chalk it up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when I read this article, I picked up on the fact that this couple was living in St. Louis, not in Los Angeles, not in New York. You would think that they could get by on this level of income, yet they were financially strapped on a daily basis, according to the article. This is just a sign of the times here in America, ladies and gentlemen. Life is getting incredibly expensive due to all of the inflation that we have been experiencing. It has reached the point where it is no longer sustainable for many American households. Of course, the cost of housing is one of the biggest reasons that many Americans struggle financially. Those of you watching this video who are renters can probably relate. The author of this article shared some data that I found very interesting, so I'm going to share it with you. She indicates the cost of food alone increased 8.8% between March 2021 and March 2022. That figure is the largest 12-month increase since the end of May 1981. Isn't that crazy? The largest 12-month increase since the end of May 1981. We all need food to survive, so we need to pay whatever it costs. Unless, of course, you are able to grow a garden and raise your own animals, which many Americans can't do because they live in a neighborhood with an HOA that would prohibit that. This article goes on to reference other reasons why Americans are struggling to afford life, which include healthcare costs, student debt, childcare, and bad financial habits. With regard to healthcare costs, the author cites the Bureau of Labor Statistics as saying that in 2022, an average of 8% of a household's budget went toward healthcare. For some unhealthy households, I suspect it is far higher than that. If you have an expensive medical procedure or you have a baby, you could blow 8% out of the water. In terms of student debt, I believe this is very problematic. It is going to be really interesting to see how the approximately 44 million everyday Americans do this year with making their student loan payments. I suspect a decent percentage of them are going to struggle to make those monthly payments. Far too many people grew comfortable not having to worry about that monthly payment during the past 3.5 years while those payments were on pause. I have no doubt some of these people are in shock right now that they actually have to make their student loan payments because many thought the government was going to forgive their balances. This is a wake-up call for many everyday Americans. At this point, it is highly unlikely that the government is going to forgive everyone's student loans. Here are my thoughts. Get used to those monthly student loan payments for the years and decades to come. In terms of childcare, the cost is almost prohibitive for some families. It has gotten out of hand, and I really don't know how some families do it anymore. I suspect there are a lot of grandparents who right now are free babysitters during their retirement years because their children can't afford to pay for childcare while they are working. I'm curious if any of you know grandparents who right now are working just as hard as they did before they retired because they are caring for grandchildren full-time every week. If you know people like this, tell me about it in the comment section below. Please keep in mind, nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video via social media or via email with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I also want to thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.